Hey everyone, Drew here, and we are going to do a live sketch. Joe Fu is going to draw Link from The Legend of Zelda. He's not going to draw Zelda, he's going to draw Link. So let's get things started. Well, hello there. How do you do? This is Camp Pencil Point, and my name is Drew. So sharpen your pencils and we'll start the show. So it's now time for harmonica intro. What's up, everyone? Joe Fu here, and put up my name. Before we start today, I want to take this time to address the tragedy that happened yesterday in Parkland, Florida. It's a very sad situation, and everyone at Camp Pencil Point sends our thoughts and our prayers out to everyone involved. And while we dwell on this idea, it's also convenient that in the next 2 days it's Random Acts of Kindness Day. February 17th is Random Acts of Kindness, which basically means exactly what it says. You go out and you make random acts of kindness to people you don't know, to total strangers, and you do little things to make their day. And what's nice about what we do as artists is we bring joy through little nuggets of artwork. And it wouldn't be a bad idea if you went out and drew for some people and drew some great artwork and did what you can to make their day a little brighter and make their day a little happier. And art has that power to do it. So this coming February 17th, I highly encourage anyone watching to participate in Random Acts of Kindness Day, because there is sadly a lot of evil in this world. And we have to do what we can to counteract that. And to counteract evil, you have to be kind, and you have to be nice, and you have to look out for your neighbor, whether you know them or you don't. So take this opportunity to go out and take every opportunity you can to do a little something to make someone else's day. So with that said, let's start today's live stream. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, otters and dragons and octopi, my name is Joe Fu, and I am the director here at Camp Pencil Point. And I am joined by my very good friend, well, there was Drew who introduced you to us today. And I am also joined by my very good friends, you guys. Anyone out there who is watching on this live broadcast or might be tuning in on a replay, welcome to Camp Pencil Point. And I am going to draw some fun stuff today, I promise. I'm going to try at least my best to draw some fun stuff today. But first, mug of the day, Golden Buddha. I hope you can see that on the screen. He's a little shiny, but we're drinking a little mint tea out of here. Hopefully, Golden Buddha will give us a little mindfulness for the day. Give us a little peace going into the evening. And mint tea. So, I got an email. That's not the email. That's a piece of paper. It's printed out. Because an email is an electronic mail. So it makes no sense that it's on a piece of paper other than I printed it out. I got an email from Chelsea, and she asked about marker paper. Now, marker paper is something I brought up at one point, either last week or with the drawing game that I did with Josh and Emily. But I never really explained what marker paper is. Marker paper is, believe it or not, paper specifically designed for markers. So it's designed so that it absorbs the marker well and doesn't bleed or doesn't go over. And I think now that I'm remembering, it was when I drew Akbar, and the paper that I was using was bristleboard, and it was kind of getting a little splotchy. It was sucking in that marker a little too much. So today, for Chelsea, I am going to draw a character on marker paper, I'm going to show you how I do it, because marker paper is totally different from bristle board. It's going to look totally different. It's going to react totally differently than when I drew on bristle board last week. So this is a octopus house activity, and I have decided to move forward with every live video that we do. It's either going to be an octopus house or an otter house activity. So the octopus house, I'm going to ramble on a little bit more. I'm going to talk a whole bunch, and these are usually going to happen on Thursday nights. And it's going to be a little more in-depth. I don't want to say it's an advanced sketch, but it will be a little more in the intermediate side. So maybe little kids will get frustrated if they try to draw along with me, or they might get bored from me talking too much. So once again, I'll explain all this on our soon-to-be revamped camppencilpoint.com and explain what Otter House and Octopus House is. So this is an octopus house activity. Otter House will be a lot more simple and a lot more easy for kids to follow along. Maybe we'll be more in characters, as far as Chef Miker and myself and Emily and Josh and Drew and Ruby will come in more often, and Rachel hopefully will stop by. So we'll try to do Otter House activities on the weekend. But for now, we're going to do an octopus house activity. So I threw it out on Instagram. That is my Instagram handle, by the way, Jofu22. You could also follow me on Instagram at this handle. You could also, oh no, I just said Instagram. You could also follow me on Twitter. And you could also find me on Tumblr at this handle, Jofu22. You could follow all my art. I try to post at least once a day, so you could follow all my art activities throughout the day through social media. So I threw out the question earlier this week, what kind of characters do you want to see me drawing? And I got a few comments. One of those was Josh, and the other was my friend Jason. So my two friends gave me some suggestions. They wanted to see some Nintendo characters, and Nintendo has always been kind of something. I'm not a gamer. I don't claim to be a gamer. I'm not going to give you a whole bunch of facts about Nintendo because I don't have it. But I do like the characters, and I like Nintendo's characters because they really take that extra step to make characters memorable and exciting and flawed and just someone you like, just likable characters. So you run down, like, even the Pokemon are included, Super Mario Brothers are included in this. Star Fox, there's a loyal following for Star Fox. The Metroid characters, Mega Man characters, which is more Capcom than Nintendo. Those are all pretty memorable Nintendo characters, but one of the most, I guess, like the biggest cult followings out there is actually Link from The Legend of Zelda. And it's funny because everyone thinks his name is Zelda, and it's the princess that he saved in the first game and many other games afterwards. So Link is not Zelda. Zelda is Zelda. But people think his name is Zelda because of the game called Legend of Zelda. I think the second game was like The Adventures of Link, so they would give him a little bit of credit. But today, I'm going to draw you, using simple shapes and marker paper, Legend of Zelda, Link. I'm switching over now. There we go. I switched over and there were these wires hanging in place, so I wanted to get rid of them. That's why you saw me kind of stumble a bit. It's live TV, folks, without actually being on TV. So I have laid out my marker paper. This is marker paper right here, and this is a piece of bristleboard. I'm going to use the bristleboard to draw my rough sketch, first of all, of Link, because this marker paper is very thin. Like, I don't know if you can see my fingers through there, but it's very thin, it's very delicate. So if you put too much activity on the marker paper, it'll fall apart on you, which I don't want to do. I also have it cut. This is my normal size for my sketches. When I do art drops, when I sell at Comic-Cons or do whatever, this is my normal size of the paper. And you'll notice my marker paper's cut a little bigger. I also have multiple multiple. I have a couple sheets just to be safe if I mess up. So it's a little longer, as you can see. It's a little, and you'll see in a second why I cut it longer. Today, I've had a couple people ask me what this pen was. I'm going to use it again. Emily used it in our drawing game on Saturday. It is a Zebra pen. The brand name is Zebra. I didn't know that. I looked it up just now. It's a Zebra pen. I knew it was called a Zebra pen. I thought it was just a fun name to give it. It looks like a zebra. It doesn't look like a zebra at all, but it's actually called the Zebra pen. And they're available on jetpens.com. Just do a search for Zebra pen if you can't. They might have them on Amazon or whatever. So that's what I'm going to use the ink. And usually I use the Iron Man mechanical pencil, but today I'm going to go with the blue, non-photo blue. And I could tell you a little bit about non-photo blue as I'm drawing, but this is a Stadler pencil, kind of standard. Hard to find non-photo blue, a good non-photo blue. But as I start drawing, I will explain to you why people use non-photo blue. So let me see if I get it straighten that out so it's not like, maybe that works. I don't know. So I'm going to start out drawing Link from Legend of Zelda. Not Zelda, we're drawing Link. I'm going to start with a line of action, which is usually what I start with. I haven't really taught this yet, but I will in a future video. And I'm going to gesture, and I know Josh and I have spoken about this before, with one of our most favorite shapes, which is a bean. So the bean's going to be his torso. I also have a circle, a sphere, if you will, that I'm going to use for his head, and maybe another bean because he has a crazy hat. So now that I kind of have this rough sketch done, I could easily add on other extremities like the arm. I can do another bean, and each leg I can do a bean, and I also want to have another bean back here because I want him twisting a little bit, giving the body a little dynamic fluid motion. So I'm done with my rough gesture, and normally I'd be done and go right to inking, but I want a little bit more because I'm actually going to overlay this. This is my bristle board, and I'm going to overlay the marker paper over this. So I'm going to go in and give him some personality, a little facial expression, if you will. I'm a big fan of the 3/4 view face and pushing it to the extreme if you can. So I have the edge of his face actually lining up with his eye, which is one of my most favorite. If you're drawing anatomically correctly, people, it's actually a lot of fun to try to wrap that zygomatic arch, it's a big word, around that eyeball. It's one of my favorite things. It's an easy tool to help you build form, and hopefully in a future video we'll talk about that more. I will talk about that more. But drew the face in that circle. I'm pretty happy with it. Now I'm going to chisel away at the bean because it doesn't have to stay the way it is. Shoulder, hand, let's draw a sword. In his hand. Throw that little twist in the body. So I'm actually going to use the bean as the side of his body and come down and twist. We'll build this as the back of his back, basically. Not the back of his back, but his back. And we're going to cut that bean for the legs into the feet. And we're going to kick some feet up. You can use simple shapes for these too, but since we're going simple anyway, we're good. So I'm drawing through, and I have this bean shape here to indicate where his back shoulder is, and it's really important for me to draw through so I know that I'm placing it in the right, that it's connected to him. So if I drew an arm like down here, I know it'd be really off because that's not, it's the bottom of his rib cage, it's not his shoulder line. So I know his one shoulder's here, And if I draw through, I know it's connected through there. So I know I'm connecting his shoulder if I do that. I'm going to throw a little hand down there. I'm going to indicate where the waist is just to give him a halfway point. And I think he's getting a little droopy, getting a little bottom heavy. So I'm going to clean up that bottom. And kind of restate his feet. I want to indicate the ground just to give myself an idea where he is. Let's indicate the eyeballs. So I know where he's kind of looking. I'm going to throw this around the arm to indicate his sleeve so I don't forget to put it in. I'm going to adjust the belt a little bit. So I'm moving kind of fast. But just know that you could slow things down. You could rewind and watch again in YouTube. And I want to keep it rough like that. So that looks pretty good to me being rough. I just threw my pencil down. I'm sorry if you heard that on camera. So now we're going to move to marker paper. So here's one sheet of marker paper. I'm going to lay it down. And if I rub it down, you can see my pencil drawing through there. Now if I put my pencil drawing actually on this marker paper, it might not last, the marker paper. So you'd break some fibers, you'd be very upset. So we're gonna overlay that drawing. So it's very thin. And here's a secret why I left so much paper left is I'm gonna get this on camera. I'm gonna fold this over. I'm gonna dog ear it basically. And I'm gonna pull out a marker. So what I'm gonna do is draw straight across. And I want to see which side is taking that marker better. And you can see, it might be because of the light, but it looks like that side's taking the marker a whole lot better. Can you see the difference? It's hard to tell. But you will tell immediately when this happens. When you lay down, sorry, Siri just went off on my iPad. So I'm like, what are you looking for marker paper, Siri? Anyway, I'm going to flip it over because that is the side that seemed to pick up the marker better. And I'm going to lay this over. And I'm going to kind of create some static electricity by brushing it down. And I think I'm happy with that. I could see it enough that I could start moving into my inking stage. Now, a lot of people will say, now's the time you put the color in. You add color now before you put the ink in, and you put the ink in last. I want to do the opposite, just because I like being difficult, and because I feel more comfortable doing this in this order. You can do whatever you want, whatever you feel most comfortable doing. Doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. You're doing it different. And that's the beauty of art. That you are allowed to do things your own way and use your own interpretation to make things work. This is a really good pen. I think it's brand new because I got some really great line work out of it so far. So the hair was indicated. I want to put a little more hair on the side. He has a little something coming out his side. And because he is blonde, I moved it a bit. Let's move it back. And what's nice, you can tape it down if you want, but what's nice sometimes when you draw is like you're given that a little bit of, don't sweat it if you move a little bit off, because sometimes sketches are just sketches and half the fun is experimentation. So I'm not going to worry about that movement in my paper. Because as Bob Ross would say, there's only happy mistakes. Is that what he used to say? I should look that up before I use it again. So once again, I'm going to go close to the edge of that face because I love the way it wraps around. The zygomatic arch, you could look it up. That might not even be right. Zygomatic arch is here. This is the orbital bone. Don't look that part up and tell me I'm wrong, because I just said I'm wrong. I missed the zygomatic's the cheekbone. Now, I threw this line in as a reminder that I wanted a sleeve on him. And I was politely reminded by that line to put the sleeve on. When we get to drawing more like people, I'm going to try to drink some tea without that one. There's the wire. He was holding back the wire. Now it's back. Before I finish that, I am going to correct that ear because it was out a little too far. So let me peel this away so you can see. See, my ear came out quite far in my sketch, and I pulled it back because it came out a little too much. And I know the ear is here. And I want to make sure it tucks behind that collar. Link has a collar. And I want to make sure perspectively it's correct and that ear falls behind that collar. Now I like playing with proportions a lot, and I'm going to do that with his arm. I like the versions of Link where he's a little dude, and there's like the whole idea that the David and Goliath story, it's not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog. I like that version of Link because, spoiler alert, he fights a giant pig creature named Ganon, who is huge in the original video game. And he's a little green dude running around slashing his sword in various spots. And I like that story better. There are other versions where Link's a little buffer. He's got long eyelashes in some of them. It's very pretty in some of them. I just like little cute Link because the world's not stopping him. He's gonna take on the world and break a whole bunch of pots to find gems. Now I'm breaking a little bit from my original sketch to give him some twists, and it goes to show that you could break from that original sketch. The original pencil lines are meant to not show in the final drawing, so don't feel like you have to stick to those pencil lines. If you want to make an audible, a switch as you're drawing, you're more than welcome to. And sometimes, most of the time, it'll work out better. So I'm going to kind of tap down, rub it down a little bit here so I could see that arm that I drew a little better. And finish off his sleeve. Give him a little texture to that arm. And I don't want to forget that hat. I'm going to tackle that right now. Link is a great character. He has good colors, green and more green. He has a great hat. Sometimes he's wearing a tunic, so it almost is like he's wearing a skirt. But it's okay because it's green. Alright, let me finish the hand up here. So a little rough in hand to give him some dynamic action. I didn't indicate this in my rough sketch, but I have confidence that I can do it with ink without roughing it in. So I'm going to indicate some big boots, because he's got big boots in most versions of the game that kind of fold down and wrap around like so. It's very fashionable, this guy. So I created the wraparound perspectively, and his little feet are going to come out from inside. And we're going to do some legs coming out. And one more leg to finish this off. Don't forget that wrap with the boot. I sound Canadian. What's this all about? And I like always trying to indicate some environment. So at least an indication of a shadow, showing that he is close to the ground, but he's jumping off, getting ready to attack. An Octorok. Give it a little fade. So there's the ink portion complete. Now it would be nice to have a green handy, but I don't think I do. I just have my blues and my grays handy. So I'm going to remove the pencil line from the marker, and I will show you. I'm going to test it out down here and make sure I'm good. I'll show you how this paper reacts. I'm actually going to go right up to that ink line. And there is you can actually, I don't know if the Luxo camera is good enough, but you can actually kind of see the ink kind of pooling up underneath it. But I'm moving quick enough and I'm not getting streaks. And that's a common complaint when people work with markers. There's a streakiness to it when you're filling in big areas. With marker paper, it holds the wetness of that marker a little longer, and you see there's no bleed happening. Like last time when I drew Admiral Akbar, it kind of flowed a little too much and I had to compensate. I'm going to do what Josh does not do and turn my paper. I got distracted by turning my paper, so I don't know what I was talking about. I can go right up to that black holding line and not worry about the bleed, because that's what marker paper is designed not to bleed. And you get a nice smooth finish. You don't get the streakiness. You get a beautiful solid flat color. That's the beauty of marker paper. I always promote not drawing up to the edges of your paper, even though I do that every week. It's always good to leave a good space around your drawing. And the reason why is because it's good to... I'm not even on the camera. There we go. It's good to have a little extra space to work and to test things out. And I'll show you in a second once I start finishing this up. I'll show you the other cool thing about marker paper. Once I lay down all this blue. And you can see it gets streaky in it for a second, and then it all just kind of melds together into a nice flat shape. Even when I go over that part again, it'll kind of sink back in. So here's the nice thing about marker paper. It's a little wet, so let it dry a bit. You can see I got a nice flat color. Now I'm going to go in with a gray like that. And what's nice about marker paper is I'm just going to go down here and throw a little bit of gray down. So I got a blob of gray down there. So that was my gray marker right there. And this is my original blue that I started working in before. And I'm just going to kind of reinstate that area and kind of push it up. I don't know if you can see it. I'm going to turn my arm so you can see it a little better. And what I'm doing is kind of softening where that gray part is. Give it a little gradation, and I'm going to go over the gray so it doesn't, so that it doesn't completely, so it matches that blue a little bit better. So a little gradation, we'll let it dry. But when it dries, you'll have something that's nice and flat. And a softness to it. I'm just going to keep going because sometimes you go with markers and you can't stop. But I'm going to stop pretty soon. So there's a slight gradation with link. Let's finish this off with a little signature at the bottom. And we will call link complete. So there you go. That was link drawn right here in front of you on marker paper. So experiment. The big thing about art is you're allowed to experiment and nothing's ever final. And there's always something fun and new to discover. So just keep creating and never feel like you're being held back by your materials, and never assume that you're done, because there's always more to learn, there's always more to experiment with, and there's always more ways to grow. Sorry about that. I was adjusting my screen. So if you like that, check out camppencilpoint.com. Like I said earlier, we are currently reworking the system and rebuilding the website, making it a little better, hopefully a little easier to use, a little easier to understand. We still don't have the octopus house and the otter house stuff indicated yet, but that will be coming soon. We will also be going live more often with these videos, so I'm going to try to do every Thursday night with a video that's octopus house. Every Saturday we're going to try to do a little bit of otter house, and we're going to just keep trying to go live as much as possible. So check us out on youtube.com, youtube.com/camppencilpoint. You can see all of our videos. You can check out the live video, the catalog of the live videos stored in that system. Once again, camppencilpoint.com. Where are you? Right here. camppencilpoint.com. You can subscribe to the blog. You can subscribe to videos. You can find out about the artists. You could also find out about social media hashtags. Josh's, Emily's, mine, Chef Miker, Rachel, Drew the Droctopus. You could also find his. Once again, my Instagram, Twitter, and Tumblr handle right here, Jofu22. For all social media platforms, it's the same thing. Follow me, and you could also, let me see if Drew's up here. Let me throw Drew's Instagram handle up here. Drew T. Droctopus, and he's actually on Facebook as well. So follow him on Facebook, Drew T. Droctopus, Twitter, Drew T. Droctopus, and Instagram. Drew T. Droctopus. So, and I think I'm done for tonight. Thank you all for stopping by and drawing with us, myself, Drew, all of you at home. We hope you had a good time. Visit camppencilpoint.com for even more fun stuff like sketches, tips and tricks, videos, character bios, and links to social media. Whew, sorry about that. Until next time, remember, drawing 20 minutes every day will make your pencils dull, but will keep your skills sharp. See what I did there? Also remember to support your favorite artist by liking, sharing, and giving credit, or commenting and leaving a nice compliment about their artwork. Most importantly, never stop creating and never stop inspiring. Thank you for stopping by and spending time with me. We'll see you next time. Keep drawing.